All right, welcome to another edition of the Heel Havoc. I'm your boy Gator. If this is your first time listening, this is the podcast that talks about the villains, goes in depth, and talks about all the glorious things that they do. So, what am I talking about this week? Well, a certain show that I like. I wouldn't say love yet, but I do like it. A spinoff of Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon. I know a lot of you are like, well, this should be interesting. Well, it is. It truly is because in the House of the Dragon, you have to ask yourself one big question: who is the real villain? Now, most fans they pick a side: Team Black, Team Green. But what if the villain isn't a person? It is the system itself. Because the House of the Dragon tricks you into choosing a side. Is it Team Black? Is it Team Green? Rhaenyra, Alicent, Daemon, Aemond. But after watching the entire story unfold, I think we are asking the wrong question because the real villain isn't a person. It's a family that believes it's entitled to rule the world. Oh, did I lose you there? Did you miss something? Yes, this whole show is about a family fighting to sit on an iron throne. Hmm. Wow. And I thought I had issues. But no, I mean, think about it. This whole comes down, everybody is fighting for a different reason, and not every one of them you could say is bad. Why? I was like, is this entire family think they're entitled to rule all of Westeros? Well, let's get down. Everybody in this series wants to identify as the hero, the villain. But the House of the Dragon is a tragedy. And tragedies don't have villains. They have people making terrible choices. We all watch Game of Thrones. So the spoiler was said by Joffrey in season 2, I believe. I was like, yes, I believe 2 or 3. I was like, where he tells us the ending of how this is going to go down before it has already gone down. But the real conflict of House of Dragons comes from pride. Everybody is thinks that they are the most worthy. Entitlement. That's a big one on this. Everybody thinks that they are entitled to sit on the throne and rule. Legacy. Now that's an important one on this as well because a couple of them think that not only is should we rule, but it is my duty to rule. But there are a couple there that just want the power. That is why this story works. Nobody is innocent. Every single person on this is either pride, entitlement, legacy, or power. Nobody is doing it for the betterment of the kingdom at all. Because, I mean, if you think about it, in season 1 of Game of Thrones, Varys and Ned Stark are talking, and Ned asks plainly, who are you fighting for? Or who are you working for? And he says, the realm. Varys in Game of Thrones might have been the only person in any of this that is actually fighting for the people in Westeros. Plain and simple. So you got nobody is innocent. Let's break down the suspects, shall we? Let's go with one of my favorites, Daemon Targaryen. Man, the easy answer on this, a lot of people looked at him as the villain for most of season 1 and season 2, but at the end of season 2, he very clearly throws his hat in after he's shown a vision. But he is violent. Yep. Kind of what he does. Impulsive. Doesn't think things through all the way through. Manipulative and ambitious. He has so much need to be the king that he has forgotten if he even wants it. But he needs it. For some odd reason, it's like he feels that he is the best and that he should have been chosen, but he wasn't. And he's trying to correct a mistake from decades prior. Now, on paper, he's the villain. But the problem is, he never even pretends to be something he's not. I mean, he never pretends to be anything else. then what he has never made an illusion that he wants the crown. He has never made an illusion that he's ambitious. Everybody knows that he's violent. He wages wars and wins them. Impulsive. He doesn't wait for things to happen. He makes them happen. He's honest about who he is. So how can you really say he is a villain? In a world full of hypocrites, he's the only one that makes sense because we don't have to guess what kind of person he is. We know. Now, is a person, and now speaking of Damon, is a person in a world full of hypocrites. When worse, when they say they're openly dangerous, or when they hide it behind morality, which means they pretend to be a moral person, but they are the most dangerous and cunning, like Littlefinger. Well, I wouldn't say morality would be the word for him, but seriously, Damon, to be honest, he has never done anything but what he said. There's no illusion that he wants the crown. I would not even rank him as a top 2 villain on this because when push comes to shove, he did what was right. He saw the vision, what could be, what will happen, what has to happen. And he is trying to fight it at that point. He put the survival of all Westeros above his own needs. How can you say that is a villain? To me, he is the only true person in this entire series. Plain, simple, the end. Now let's break down some of the Hightowers. Otto Hightower, the political villain. Now, a lot of people like to land on him because Otto engineers succession conflicts, manipulates the king, advances his family by getting his daughter with the king, fuels a civil war. To be honest, his whole ambition has been to do nothing but advance his family, not the betterment of the realm, but to advance his family and his standing, to put his bloodline on the throne. That is not the easiest one to overrule. To be honest, I'm looking at him and he's the most, it's probably why he was thrown down in the dungeon and forgotten about for a minute. But you can also argue without Otto, the Dance of Dragons never happens. Think about it. If he wasn't there pushing his daughter onto King Viserys, we don't get conflict for the crown. It passes very cleanly to Rhaenyra. So he literally orchestrated an entire war between the family just to get his bloodline in, and he succeeded. Alicent gave birth to a couple boys, a girl. The bloodline is there and sitting on the throne by season 2. Well, by season 1, technically. So, without Otto, does it really happen? Now, the most dangerous person in the House of the Dragon isn't a dragon rider. It's a politician. Because a politician, in my opinion, knows how to manipulate. Kind of like the old saying, father walks into a house, said, "I'm the head of this house. I break the rules. I am the king, lord, all savior, whatever." Then the mother tells the children, if dad's the head of the family, what are you? And say, "I'm the neck. I turn the head the way I want it to go." Same thing with politicians. They, especially Otto, will push the dragon rider to the direction he wants them to go. Even people whispering in the king's ear, saying, "Do this, do that." They are pushing their own agenda through the king. So, now, since we're on the Hightower list, let's go with Alicent. Now, this is number 1 for a lot of people because it seems like she turned her back on her best friend, married her best friend's father, but that really wasn't her fault. She was kind of set up and arranged, like, there you go. But so she was thrown into a situation she didn't want to be in. Her life was not her own. But she is the most tragic portion of this story because she is doing things for a mother's love. This is where it gets really complicated because she truly believes she is genuinely protecting her children, her family, and her future. She does not think any other way. So, if she's actually thinking this way throughout the entire series so far, now it seemed to have turned there at the end of season two, and definitely season three working it, including the spoiler, by the way, incredibly awkward mother son kiss. I mean, I think we all cringed at that a little bit. So, all right. Uh, to be honest, Alicent is dangerous, but not on a level that makes her. She doesn't want the crown. She doesn't want the power that comes with it. She wants to protect her children, and if her children sitting on that crown, or sitting with a crown, or sitting on the throne means that they are alive and well, that's what she's going to ensure. And instead of the end, even when she's making that deal at the end of season two, it was for her daughter and her other son. Son for a son. That seemed to be the only discussion happening. But that's that's why she's kind of a great villain in this, is because she doesn't think she's the villain. She thinks she's doing everything right and how you're supposed to do it. I mean, that's what makes villains the best ones there. They think they're in the right and protecting the ones that they love. So, can someone, and here's a good question, ask yourself, this is kind of like dead thought into there. Can someone become a villain while trying to be a good parent? Kind of a catcher right there, isn't it? I mean, you choose the lesser of two evils. I mean, but if you're a father, a mother, what father or mother is not going to do what's best for their children? I mean, good parent, bad person. I mean, there's a lot of those out there too, but she truly loves her family. Sounds like it's trying to protect them. So I can't, in all honesty, say that she's not a villain, but she's not a hero by any means. In her own eyes, she is definitely a hero. So let's get to Rhaenyra Targaryen. I hated Targaryens. Ugh. It seems like the whole Game of Thrones message is Targaryen are bad. I mean, she is the hero who becomes the problem. I mean, at the beginning, I mean, you're supporting Rhaenyra. Yes. I mean, she was promised the throne. She was told the story of fire and ice to pass down. But as you see the story progress, you start asking uncomfortable questions. Does being the rightful heir automatically make someone right? That's the trap. Rhaenyra increasingly prioritizes power, legacy, the throne, just like everyone else. Now, you can make the argument, hands down, you can make the argument that she was promised the throne, that she is the chosen successor, since, oh, can't speak on that one. She is the chosen successor by her father. So everybody immediately flocks it. Okay, she's doing it. Now, you think about everything she's done once that happened. It has not been to bring a peaceful conflict, it has been to elevate this, to reach out and grab the power like she can only have, even making Damon bend the knee in front of a whole room full of knights at the end of season two. And you could see it on his face. He knew damn well what she was doing. She was making sure that he knew what that everybody was going to see him bend the knee if they want to do it. Now she wrote out there all powerful and stuff, but she could have just had a conversation with her husband, Hunkle, I guess we can call him, baby daddy, or whatever we want to call it, Damon at that point. But I mean, she could have had that conversation to the side. That is her husband after all. But no, she chose the powerful stance of doing it in front of a room full of knights and lords. Tell me that isn't just power. Now, if Rhaenyra really only cared about legacy, she just, as long as a Targaryen is on the throne, everything's good. It's not legacy that she's after. She's after the entitlement that she thinks comes with being the named successor. And she's willing to do anything to do it. Instead of peaceful and discussing it, having even the Lord's approval and stuff, they are still straight on. let's fight. I was like, this is a battle to the death for this throne, because that's the key thing that she wants is the throne, and she gets a lot of people on her family on her side. I was like the queen that never was. I was like, just because she feels she's being outed just like her. When if you actually look, Viserys did not want the crown. I think his father knew it. Therefore, he'd be the only one not to abuse it for the power, because he didn't want the power. He just wanted to live a nice, decent life, which he would have either way. But he tried to do the same thing with Rhaenyra, thinking, hey, here you go, your time. But now it seems like it is all she can do is to do it. Now, I do think all the rest of them are screwing her over, trying to act like she is this harmless little person. She is a dragon rider. And they're still trying to keep her at the table and trying to make little bitty decisions. No, send her out there. Let's win this war. If I was her people, but no, they think they can undercut her. And I think that's what everybody sees. There's not a single person on her side that hasn't questioned her to her face at one time, even at a point to where she says, I'm sorry, it is my fault that you do not fear me. And I was like, yeah, because she's trying to treat everybody nice and decent. But guess what? That ain't always how it is. But no matter who you are, the throne changes everyone. It's one of the major themes. The Iron Throne doesn't reveal greatness, it reveals obsession. Everyone who gets close to it begins sacrificing morality, relationships, empathy for power. Not a single person that has tried to get that throne has actually succeeded in a point where they haven't given up some part of themselves. Robert Baratheon gave up love. He gave up every friendship. And he even gave up a hot Cersei wife just to go whore around and drink. Joffrey gave up complete morality. His brother Tomlin gave up his life because the throne was more precious than anything. Cersei gave up her entire family. And even Jon Snow wasn't innocent of it. He gave up a woman that he truly cared about to make sure that she didn't sit on that throne and keep doing what she was doing. Now, we're not going to get into Game of Thrones today. This is all about House of the Dragon. So, everybody, not a single person that has went after that throne or is competing for that throne or just wants to be close to it, hasn't given up being a good person just to get where they want. So, now let's go to my personal favorite, Aemon Targaryen. Now, he is the fan favorite villain, isn't he? Man, he's fascinating, man. I mean, come on. I mean, fans understand him. He's bullied, underestimated, mocked. And then he gains power through working extra hard because now he's blind in one eye. So now he has to learn and do things a different way from everybody else, which makes him that much more dangerous because he's working twice as hard to be the cunning warrior, the strength and everything. So he gains power, and then suddenly he becomes the thing he hated. He becomes a bully. It's one of the oldest stories ever told. I mean, personally, I don't see Aemon as the villain. I see him as the only one treating a situation as a situation. He is put into a war. Now, granted, he did kind of start it by killing his nephew's dragon and his nephew. That kind of pushed Rhaenyra over the edge and put it into a full-blown war, but he didn't want to do that. He just wasn't ready to handle the kind of dragon. I'm pretty sure if he would have went, apologized, or maybe sacrificed in something, he would have got, this could have been simple, but he knew he had started something at that point that he could not go back from. So now he is not playing the villain. He's just handling situation, making competent, strategic decisions to win a war. Not because it gives him the throne. He knows his brother survives, even though he took a cheap shot at his brother, tried to kill him. That's another story. That's mainly him trying to remove weakness from the situation because he knew his brother couldn't be a good king. Aemon would actually make a good king. He's very strategic, mindful, thinks things through, knows what it's like to be weak, and now he knows what it's like to be power. So let's break it down in a psychological point on it. I was like, he has been bullied, mistreated, lost an eye, and got no retribution for it. Why would anybody act any different than he is acting? To be honest, he has the biggest dragon. He can go on a killing spree if he wants, but he's not. He's doing very strategically. Even whenever he's riding a dragonstone trying to chase down another dragon rider, he still stops, turns, goes back, instead of trying to just do the impulsive thing and go in there and try to fight. Now, he probably couldn't have made things worse, to be honest, because he would have been facing two dragon riders that don't know anything about what they're doing. Rhaenyra would have been the only one that could have done anything. So that could have been a cluster of things. That could have made things worse. I mean, I would have given him a 50-50 shot going in there to attack Dragonstone and Rhaenyra. I wouldn't have just shrugged him off and said that he wasn't going to win that because, in all honesty, I think with his abilities, if he would have planned it out a little bit more, he could have. But after they were trained and everything, it was over. He couldn't do it by himself anymore. So, psychological angle. Every character is fighting for their younger self. Alicent fights fear. Fear of losing her children. Fear of death. Fear of her family being ripped and torn apart. Fear of everything. Fear of losing everything that they have. Daemon fights for irrelevance. Or he fights irrelevance. Because he doesn't want to be just an overlooked prince. He wants to be someone that has made a difference. That has done something that nobody else. He is the Lord and leader and has led armies and won battles, but still considers himself as not worthy until he gets that crown. Aemond fights humiliation. He wants to prove everybody wrong. Everybody that thinks he is weak. That's why this show really feels human. The war isn't just political, it's personal. And to be honest, I think it says a lot about the viewer themselves. Which side you land on, I think will reveal more about yourself than anything else. Were you bullied as a kid and you can relate to Aemon and he is kind of your hero because he is fighting the people that have fought back? Are you the soldier that has won battles and done what is best for the kingdom and for your king and you have been overlooked? Are you the mother that is protecting their children and wants to keep everything that you have? Are you a child that has been promised the world by your parent and never got it? Or maybe you just are someone who can relate to Otto and just wants to touch greatness without being there. This works in so many different ways, this show, because nobody is wrong and nobody is right whenever you're watching, no matter who you're rooting for, because the villains are all of them. The heroes are all of them, depending on your point of view and how you're watching it. So, the real villain in this whole show is Targaryen exceptionalism. This is the heel Havoc take on this. It isn't Daemon, Otto, Alicent, Rhaenyra, Aemond, Aegon. The real villain is the belief that one family is destined to rule everyone. Think about it. The entire conflict exists because people believe we deserve power because we are Targaryens. That belief alone has destroyed families, kingdoms, dragons, and generations. Targaryens have known more war within themselves than they have peace for the realm. Not every single one of them always fighting. It's not about, to the Targaryen bloodline, it's not about being Targaryen. It's about wearing that crown, ruling, being exceptional. Even one of the bastard sons of Rhaenyra, he, the oldest, I mean, even thinks himself, he's like, these people are beneath us, commoners riding dragons. He himself would be tossed to the side, but he still has that mentality because his mother is a Targaryen and he is a Targaryen. So they destroy everything they touch. The tragedy isn't caused by evil, it's caused by entitlement. So you break everything down. The real villain of the House of Dragons, you could pick with Team Black, Team Green, Otto, Aemond, Daemon, Rhaenyra, Alicent. Pick who you like. Pick who you relate to, because you're not wrong and you're not right. The real villain of the House of Dragons is the idea that everyone has a divine right to rule, or that anyone has a divine right to rule. Take that out of the equation, and the new king is picked by the old one. Then everything, this whole show, this whole family falls apart. So, question to ask yourself, and I would love to hear your answers on this. So, drop a line, give me a comment on this. Who do you think has caused the most damage? Otto Hightower, Daemon Targaryen, Alicent Targaryen or Hightower, Rhaenyra Targaryen, or just the Targaryen dynasty itself? Because all it is a civil war until old Robert Baratheon comes along and wreaks havoc with his warhammer. Although this show has made the Lannisters look incredibly weak. I mean, I'm so used to Tywin and how strong of a character he was. And I mean, not a single Lannister has impressed me in this entire show yet. So, but you know what? We're right at the beginning of season 3. So we'll wrap this up on this one. House of Dragon isn't the story heroes fighting villains. It's a story of powerful people convincing themselves they're the hero. And history is filled with wars that started exactly the same way. Think about it. We've known some in the real world where the villains know, not only think, but know they are the hero. So when you're watching the House of Dragons, think to yourself, who do you really want to win? Or who do you think is fighting for the right reason? What if the entire system was broken from the beginning? So that's the time. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you haven't already, please give me a like, a share, a follow. I love to hear the comments as well. Thank you very much for the ones that have commented or getting involved. I love every one of you. So y'all have a great one. Till next week, tune in to Heal Havoc, where it's good to be bad.